Oh, VV Nation, it is Monday. Welcome to Midday Market Action. If you can hear me, if you can see me, you know what to do. Put VV in the comment section. It does sound like everyone can hear me, can see me. Thank you, Nancy, for that. John says, SoFi, Nvidia, let's go. Yes, you know it's going to be all about Nvidia. Who's going to ask me to look at the Nvidia chart? I'm going to save you some effort on your keyboard. You do not have to ask me to look at Nvidia today. All right. John says, I saw Glenn went home. I heard that Friday when I was doing one of the streams. Someone had mentioned Steve Chappell because he's supposed to go home sometime last week. I think it ended up a couple days later than I expected, or the time frame I heard. I messaged his wife, Janet. Just waiting for a reply. I know she's got her hands full right now, but keep him in your prayers. Supposedly is home right now. As soon as I get an update or something I could let you guys know, I will definitely do so. Again, if you did not hear about Glenn, obviously he had a stroke back in June. I know a lot of people were traveling, over the summer, but if you didn't hear about it, he did have a stroke. He went through rehabilitation, just working on his strength. Keep him in your prayers. And by all means, if you want updates or if you want to help him and his family, just go to VectorVest.com/Glenn. Janice says, yeah, his wife posted a pic rolling him out. He is skinny mini, but smiling big. Oh, I bet he's got a big smile on his face. Oh, man, I'm excited. I'm very excited that he's home. But, yeah, as soon as I hear from, his wife and get the okay, I'll give you guys, any kind of further update there. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I haven't heard it on any kind of timetable of him returning, and that's not the focus right now. The focus is on him, focusing on his strength and doing what he's got to do. Doing what he's got to do to get better. That way he can get back in the saddle and give us great stock picks like he did with Palantir. Put a 1 in the comment section if Glenn helped you with Palantir. And put another 1 in the comment section if you took my warning last week on Palantir. I see it's down again today in the 150s. Don't get emotionally attached. Like Glenn said, if you're up a lot, playing with house money's never a bad idea, and taking profits, never a bad idea. All right, we got a lot of 1s coming in. I know Glenn's awesome for that. Just a little catch up. Last week, or I think it was last week or the week before, I did a little stock here called GXAI. Who remembers that video, right? Stock was below $2. You can see my little line here. This was the line. I needed stock price to get above. This is a little midday on this candle bar here. We found a level support. I mean, I gave you guys a bag in 2 days. Well, not necessarily me, but VectorVest, because the only reason why this AI stock was on my radar in the first place, because the system was undervalued, and it's hard to find, high momentum AI stocks that are undervalued. So again, if you're in GXAI, I'm really looking at this level right here, this 183, as long as the bulls stay above it, looks like we're not in too much trouble. And again, that seems to be the case today, up to 229. Don't get too greedy, especially if you got into that around 170, 180. I think that was about the time I was doing the video. Other than that, hopefully you got in around 2. If you did, hopefully, and if you took some profits at $3 for that bag in a day, I ain't mad at it. You mad at it? No. And that goes back to what I was saying last week. The videos that don't get that great of views always do phenomenal for some reason. I mean, I'm not going to say always, but there's a high probability. So just, if you see videos with low views, just, keep an eye on those. Glenn recommended Palantir when it was under $20. Yes, he did, Prakash. Yes, he did. Can we analyze Palantir? Yeah, we can take a look at Palantir. Hey, we can do that right now, actually. Let's do it right now. We get Palantir. Actually, no, we're going to wait on that. I got a news story on Palantir. And then we'll jump into Palantir. I forgot. It is in the watch list today. Obviously, we're going to talk about Nvidia. That is Wednesday after the bell, right? The market taking a little bit of pause. I mean, Nvidia's earnings tends to have just about as much weight in moving the market as Jerome Powell, or at least not far behind him. So I'm not surprised, the market's taking a little breather, getting a little anxious before Nvidia. And then Friday, we got inflation data. So I think the market, the volatility or the momentum will really pick up in the later half of this week. Yep, Nvidia and CrowdStrike's earnings on the same. There's actually quite a few. Wednesday is the big earnings day. I've got a watch list here. 21 one stocks that we're going to break down here for earnings. Heard the Palantir is going to be down in September. Well, I don't know necessarily that, but my first warning was when it broke above the ascending channel. That usually is a sign of exhaustion. We see that in some stocks, right? SoFi kind of broke that pattern, but we've seen that, AMD being a good recent example that I've utilized before. And then once it got down in the channel, and again, just be careful if you're in Palantir. We'll take a look at the chart here. At this point, I'm just, sticking on with the chart. All right, let's get back to the home page. You can see major indices here. They're mixed, right? Dow Jones down 0.5%, NASDAQ up a little bit, S&P down, VectorVest composites down a little bit. So it's mixed. Everything's taking a little breather. And especially after Friday's big day, I wasn't expecting, another big momentum day today, especially, right before Nvidia's earnings. Mark says, Glenn, Brooklyn strong. I like that. I'm going to post that for a minute here. And I like your picture, Mark. The cat on the windowsill in New York City. That's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. All right. So, Midas Touch showing us some momentum here. PPIH. These are some stocks we talked about last week. Did a couple of videos on Midas Touch, Top VST. You can see the momentum for the most part with those companies. So let's see what's actually moving the market, see what the headlines are in the market right now. Where are we at here? There we go. Let's start here. We're going to start with the earnings this week. That's what's really going to move the market, right? Today, you can see scrolling down, not a whole lot. So the earnings ain't going to move it today. Tomorrow, and actually this week, other than Nvidia, one thing, I forgot to add Okta to the list. But yeah, Okta's also on the list here. Canadian banks. Big week for Canadian banks here. I mean, we got Bank of Montreal, Bank of Nova Scotia. If I go to Wednesday here, Royal Bank of Canada. They're all weak this week. So, if you're holding Canadian stocks, definitely keep an eye on those. See here. But yeah, Okta. So, not that big of a day tomorrow, but Wednesday's when it really picks up. Obviously, Nvidia. That's going to be the stock of the week here. I love Canadian banks. BNS is my favorite. I was looking at the charts actually. Canadian banks didn't look that bad. And honestly, with the tariffs and thing, we've kind of realized this year, getting exposure to other countries internationally, not a bad idea, right? There's been some opportunities there. So we'll take a look at the charts to see if there's some opportunities when it comes to Canadian banks. I thought this week be a good week to check that out. Maybe I'll do a video on Canadian banks. I don't really, not that I don't want to or like to, but I guess when I really put much effort into, a video on Canadian stocks. Maybe, Clay's in the background. Clay, maybe that's something we should experiment. 'Cause I know we got customers all around the world here. Roger says NYMT found it on VV. Please put some eyes on it. See if it can make VV Nation some money. Roger, we like making VV Nation some money. Roger, remind me of that one here when we get to the stock picks. I've never heard of that company, and I always like looking at stock symbols I've never heard of, especially if something in the VectorVest 7 system is saying, hey, this is one to take a look at. Faya says good dividend on Canadian banks. That's the word on the street, right? Now, that being said, if you like Canadian stocks, if you like good dividend plays, like I said, I was looking at the charts. They didn't look half bad. And, as we've seen this year with, everything with tariffs and, trade relations, having exposure internationally, with everything going on right now, seems to be working this year, right? And if it's working, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Why try to find something new, right? All right, thank you, Roger, for that. But yeah, again, as we go scroll down here, someone mentioned CrowdStrike, but look at this little guy sneaking on us, Snowflake. So we got the largest hardware provider, obviously, being Nvidia. Maybe TSMC might be ahead of an Nvidia on that strike, but Nvidia's up there. But either way, on the software side, CrowdStrike and Snow. Some other companies here. Where was it? Oh, we got NetApp. Five Below, Urban Outfitters. I did put them in the watch list here. Some of the retail stocks. And Five Below, I'm kind of curious what they've been doing recently, because I know the whole premise behind them is kind of like a Dollar General, dollar store. So I would think, weak consumer might benefit this company, but also the tariff situation might hinder this company. So it's been a while since I looked at Five Below. I used to look at it quite a bit. I think I've even traded it a little bit. Not the options, but just the stock. I think I did a couple times. Oh, that was back in COVID, back when it was kind of more of a retail meme stock. So your Thursday, again, Toronto, Dominion Bank. So, especially if you're holding Canadian banks, if you're holding Canadian equities in general, definitely pay attention to what's going on with Canadian banks this week. Alt 5, any thoughts? What do you mean by Alt 5? What do you mean by Alt 5? Brian says, please review CoreWeave. Yes, it's in the watch list for earnings. I got 21 stocks, earnings watch list. Pennywise ain't playing no games today. He said, I want to pay you to check out Rocket Lab. Up $4 today. All right. Let's jump into it here. Where's VectorVest? Boom, boom, boom. Let's go to graphs. Let's take a look at Rocket Lab. RKLB. Whoo, there it goes. Hey, that's that 40-day moving average retest. What I like about it, here's my, real level support. Obviously, if you guys see me, looking at this one, but I like a new level support here, and I'm going to say it's going to be based off of this consolidation breakout. Just a little hunch here. So let's just put the lines up, see if they match up. Boom, they matched up. Look at that bottom wick. That's how you read a chart, people. Again, because stocks, they just don't move up. They move up a little bit, come back, find some support typically. Go up a little bit, come back, find some support. Go up. That's the pattern we're looking for, right? And that's what we're seeing here. We built a nice level support here, went up a little bit, came back. If you want to see follow through, obviously take out the prior high. And then, if we do take out that high, probably somewhere in this range, maybe this wick here, probably my next level support going up. You see, we're already developing some resistance there, so that's a good line for a future level of support. So yes, Pennywise, I like it. Forecasted data, 8%, 36% sales growth rate. I know you can already see that in your system. Mixed signals in the forecasted data. But as far as the chart, as far as the technicals here, I like what I see. Rocket Lab is closing in on $50. Yeah, it's going to be tempted to break that, previous high here. And obviously, you know what? I didn't put it in the news stories today, but what's probably helping, defense stocks move up a little bit? Anybody know what's going on in the world today? Why defense stocks might be moving up a little bit today? Or, Pennywise, do you know why this stock? Is there some news in particular on this stock? Otherwise, there's some news in general, mainly South America, if you guys aren't familiar with that. We got battleships, cruisers, we're having a military presence in Venezuela right now. So I imagine any news, with an increased military presence, is probably going to help defense stocks, right? Yep, Pennywise, you guessed it, Venezuela. So yeah, with warships in South America now, yeah, I like defense, right? As long as I see more uses for our warships and military industrial complex, obviously that's going to be good for business, right? But yeah, so I'm not surprised that thing's moving up today. And let's just do this. Let's just go to sector. Let's just see if there's momentum there in general. It's trying to get back above. So that's the one thing I don't like. You've seen this retest from the 20-day EMA. But more so really just consolidation here. We can see the consolidation coming in. This is the sector of defense. So you're not going to get much momentum here. We'll see. But ideally, I want to see the sector start breaking above 108. And then I have a feeling we'll see some momentum there. But really, that's a good stock, Pennywise. And I like the trade setup I see there. Ooh, let's go to Rocket Lab, RKLB. All right, again, everybody, this was a stock that Pennywise brought to the table here. This is Rocket Lab. Let's see if there's any. I'm just curious what this line comes from here. Look at that long-term resistance, too. We did this, what was it with SoFi that we did this line? But look at that. That line in here is telling me that this thing could just rock it. It really could. I like it, Pennywise. I like it. Defense is mixed today. RVLV, Katos, RTX, and DRS are all up. New fiscal year will help defense spending. All right, Linda. I could get behind that as well. I definitely get behind that. GD is also up, Pennywise says. But yeah, no, I like this. Even just from a trade perspective, we're seeing, obviously, conflicts in the news. So, and like you said, Linda, defense spending. But yeah, it's primed. This stock is primed here. I like everything I see about this. All right, let's get back to it. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Earnings. A lot of big earnings here. I don't know if I put Dell in the list. Maybe remind me. Remind me put Dell. I did put Marvel here, but I think I accidentally skipped Dell. We'll take a look. All right, I got some other ones here. We got U.S. economic calendar. What's going on this week? Not much here. Tuesday. Oh, consumer confidence. That's one thing I did want to point out. Around 10 a.m., we got consumer confidence. If you're a day trader, especially if you're out the gate day trader around 9:30, 10 o'clock, just be careful. That consumer confidence can throw you some intraday volatility. Wednesday, nothing scheduled. But you know what's on Wednesday, right? That's the big day this week. That is Nvidia's earnings after the bell. Along with that, we got CrowdStrike and Snowflake. So that's enough for me to think that's going to move the market. Dell is a good one to watch. Actually, I think Dell is a great one to watch. And after seeing the performance of SMCI and hearing that earnings call, I think Dell, I know as one of their competitors, I think Dell is probably snagging up some of that business. So yeah, Pennywise, I like Dell. I like Dell. All right, Thursday, initial jobless claims. Obviously, that could throw the market for a loop here. The Fed weighing, jobs, inflation, right? So Thursday we got jobs. Friday we've got PCE data. We've got inflation, right? So obviously that stuff's, gonna be in the mix. Is the Fed gonna make interest rate cuts next month, right? Well, if this data comes out and says, hey, we need to get interest rate cut. It's a double-edged sword, though. Yeah, some stocks might get excited from that, but also some stocks and the market might see some weakness because we're needing that interest rate cut, right? So I'm just interested to see what the data is going to be. But yeah, we've got jobless data, inflation data, and Nvidia. Now here we can see this is the news article here. Nvidia faces Wall Street's high expectations 2 years into the boom. Started transforming 2 years ago with the artificial intelligence boom sparked by OpenAI's ChatGPT, right? I'm gonna skip down to the important part. This is the important part. It's data center revenue. I don't care what anyone says. It's all about the data center revenue. It's 88% of their sales, right? Look at this. Clearest sign how AI has become to its business. It is its business. 88% is pretty much the whole business, right? The company said 34% of total sales last year came from 3 unnamed customers. Analysts say Nvidia's top end users, the hype. We got Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, right? I think it's all going to be about data center growth, right? That's what it's going to be. And you see, after 5 straight quarters of triple-digit expansion, God. Nvidia is expected to report a year-over-year jump 53%, $45.9 billion in its second quarter report. Tech mega cap companies other than Nvidia. Where's it at here? Okay, which is still private. And this is, I don't see this slowing down. I don't see this slowing down. I mean, you heard Jensen Huang. He literally said we're phase 1. Phase 2, I forgot what it was like, 10 times as much computing power or 100 times the computing power? Triple the energy usage that we're using now? I don't see that slowing down. I don't see it slowing down. And Nvidia is just like the AI safe play, right? If you don't want the volatility and the crazy names like, BBAI or, AMD's volatility. Some of these other ones, software and hardware, Nvidia is the safe play. We all know that, right? TSM, a lot of love. I got a lot of love for TSM. I would say TSM is the number 2 safe play in AI because without TSM, Nvidia don't do nothing. It don't exist, right? They manufacture the chips, right? And obviously, we can't even do it. The United States can't do it. That's why they got to bring their facilities over here to Arizona. I actually contacted the Arizona facility or Taiwan Semiconductor to see if I could tour that facility, and I cannot. They do not allow guests or visitors, no matter how many views I get on, for my TSM and AMD videos. I don't care. But I did talk to them and see if I could go out there. But no, and I'm not surprised by that. They've got a lot of national security concerns with their facilities. So energy, midstreams, and software are great areas to find plays on that. Yes. Linda says, Nvidia I have a lot, but don't like 15% to government. WTH. What do you mean by that, Linda? What do you mean by that one, Linda? 15% to the government. You're talking about like the taxes? I've driven past the Arizona plant for TSM. It's massive. Created their own town. Yeah, those plants are massive. What do you think about U.S. government taking 15% from Nvidia and AMD? When was that announced? Was that just announced? But yeah, they're about to do that with a lot of companies. They're doing the sovereign wealth fund, kind of like what you see with Saudi Arabia and China, where they invest a lot of their own companies, infrastructure, national security, things of that nature. I mean, the government owning 15% of the company, and they ain't going to sell it. So I think that means 15% of these stocks of shares, they're going to be sitting. I think that helps the bulls, right? Trump has been talking about the government buying stakes in companies. Yeah. I did see the stake in Intel. I mean, they've got a stake of what? An MP. I mean, anything national security, they're getting a stake in right now, right? Kind of concerning, kind of not concerning. I don't really want to talk about it too much because I am at work here. No, not owning tax on Nvidia, 15%. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, well, tax is a tax. Good luck not paying your taxes. White House asset says government likely to continue taking stakes in companies similar to Intel, right? So this is what you guys are all talking about. Not surprised by this whatsoever. You see right here, Trump signed an order in early February to start a sovereign wealth fund, a mechanism primarily used by smaller countries with vast natural resources that are used as funding backstops for transaction. Norway leads the world in such funds with some $1.8 trillion in assets. China is next, and multiple Middle East nations have large funds. So it looks like Norway started this trend. Obviously, China has a lot of state-owned businesses. Middle East, the most popular one there is probably you got the Saudi Arabia, and you've got the Abu Dhabi funds as well. But again, I mean, and this isn't something new. We've done this before. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, right? Anybody remember that financial crisis? Yeah, that's why I'm kind of concerned about them taking over companies, because who has to flip the bill in case these companies don't work out? The American taxpayer, right? And Intel, what do you think? Just because the government puts money in it, it's gonna take over TSMC or leapfrog ahead of TSMC? So just again, I'm at work. I can't talk about all this stuff. But so Jerome says U.S. almost seems to be acting like China with taking stakes in these high-end chip companies. That is the comment that I couldn't make at work, Jerome. That's the comment I can't make at work. But is that a bad thing? I'm not going to necessarily say it's a bad thing, though. I mean, we got to do what we got to do to make sure we either keep it up with China or at least stay ahead of China, I should say, right? But we'll see. Comparative is Chrysler bailout. Yeah, there's been a lot of bad examples of this, right? I think it's a bad thing. Yes, bad thing. I just, from my own generation, I can talk about 1979, but I remember the bailouts when I was a kid on the, GM and the other ones back in the 2008 recession. Yeah, we bailed them out, but, they still lost market share. I mean, look at all these other companies that are popped up. But, I get it from, national security perspective, but, all right, let's move on. All right, we got D-Wave here. I talked about this last week. Out of all the quantum companies, right? Because the big thing about quantum is how far away is it, right? Are some of these companies even going to be able to stay in the game that long, right? We already know these companies are overvalued. You see it right there, way overvalued. No big deal there. Where is it at? There. Continue to scroll down. There it is right here. Look at this. I observe that D-Wave has worked up the biggest cash war chest of them all, $819 million. And it was an article last week. I talked about this. If anyone remembers, let me know. But it was either 5 or 10 years. They had enough cash on hand for all the research and development they needed or projected they needed for the next like 5 or 10 years out, right? So they're in a good position there. As far as the quantum companies, second place, IonQ. Another one I've talked about quite a bit. I like both of these companies, right? If I'm going to get quantum, really quantum mechanics, I want the companies behind the revolution. These are the two companies here. Comes in second place with $547 million in cash. Let's see here. Qubits, Google. Pennywise says, not a fan of qubits. Google, DRS, and Nvidia are my quantum plays. Pennywise, I would say that's not bad, and I think you are taking the more conservative approach. And I like your stock picks of quantum. Yeah, so if you're more conservative in nature and you don't want high speculation, yeah, probably aim what Pennywise just said, right? I see qubits and IOQ as acquisition targets. Woo! Ding, 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 ding. Who do you think's going to buy them? Who do you think's going to get it? I think Microsoft. I think Microsoft or Google. Yep. I see it too. And what happens when a big company typically buys a little company? The little company likes to go, pew, rockets, right? That's right, Penny. That's the play I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. So again, it's just that speculation. We all know that. G says Google. Yeah, I get that as well. Yeah, Microsoft, exactly who I said. Microsoft, Google, maybe one of their subsidiaries. I don't know exactly how their quantum business works exactly, but, someone attached to those two big players is going to gobble up. IonQ might... I know our IonQ is a little more difficult. It's based out of Maryland. They actually have a lot of, Pentagon, DOD... I think they even have some contracts with the CIA, if I remember correctly. But they're right next to Langley. So, they've got a huge connection with the government. And I know Microsoft does as well, and Google. But yeah, I could see these companies kind of merging or, some kind of partnership coming out. And D-Wave has got very important patents. But yeah, quantum, we all know it's hot. I got them in the watch list today as well. We're going to take a look at them. Next item of business, Ethereum. I've been saying it for 2 months. Ether is way overdue, and I knew it was aiming for a new high. It broke out of the new high. I'm not even going to talk about this article. We already know what it is. This is Ethereum here. Oh, man. What's going on here? ETH price. No, we don't want that one. We'll go to coin market cap. This is what it's all about. You see right here? Boom. 46,666. That's kind of creepy, though. Those 3 6s after that 4. Well, now, you can see we're at 4626. The high, it did hit a little higher today. What was the high? Anybody know what the high was today? I don't have it on here. But this is my whole theory, is that, I guess you could say theory. I almost said theory. But it, if you miss the momentum, you can see it's right there. It's right above it here. But yeah, it's due for a run. I think we're going to get a good breakout on Ethereum. I've only been talking about this for 2 months now. Look at this sucker was less than $2,000. It is rocketing. If I had to guess, it's probably going to keep jumping up. We need to retest on this level, right? This needs to be another strong level support here, around this 4,600 mark. Any ETF for Ether? Yes, there is. I got 2 in the watch list. I got a single leverage, and I got 2 times leverage. Even in tonight's video, I mentioned it, but only for a second. Tonight's video is not on crypto. Tonight's video, who gave me AREC? Was that Bill? Is Bill here in the room today? I'm pretty sure it was Bill. Burgess, are you in the room today? You gave me American Resources. Whoever gave me American Resources, kudos. I literally texted my mom about the stock today. It's up quite a bit. Tonight's video is on AREC. That stock is hot. Hot. The only reason I'm telling you about it is because it's so hot. The stock's moving up right now like a rocket. And I don't want you to wait till 6 p.m. But, don't buy it just because I say it's hot. Just, look at the chart. But I love what I see here. I just purchased AREC weed stocks kicking. Hey, now the Tilray, I told you about them weed stocks. I told you about the weed stocks. Oh man, I gotta give kudos to Clay, who's in the background right now. We actually had a meeting on hot stocks, and that was one of his big things. He's actually in Tilray right now. He's rocking and rolling. I know he's making some money. He got into it just under $1. So kudos to Clay for putting that on our radar. Pennywise, MO, and BTI are my weed stocks. All right, maybe we should look at some weed stocks today. Maybe we'll do that for stock picks. All right, let's get out of here. Let's get back to the software. We got a lot of stocks to cover. What time is it? 12:30. All right, let's go here. First, we'll do news. We'll do news, then we'll do the earnings. News. Oh, did I skip the last one? Oh, did I skip the last story? I had a Palantir story. Oh, yeah, I closed out of it. Pretty much just say Palantir is in trouble. And it was looking for more downside. But, yeah, we'll look at Palantir right now. All right, I got Ethereum. I got Intel with their stake, right? They're up a little bit, 1%. Palantir's at 157. Qubit here. We got IO and Q, all stocks down today. So let's go ahead and jump in their chart, see what's going on here. Ryan, can you add DVLT to software? Is it not in the software at all? DeVault, it's right here. Data Vault AI, what'd you give it us? A little secret AI stock? What's the value on this bad boy? Oh, is that an undervalued AI? It's got AI in the name. I don't even care if it does AI because the name alone will get the retail people enthused about it. I'm getting rejections at the 20 and 40. But man, if this thing pops above there, we could get some moves. Let's see here. I'm thinking this one here. That's my trend line. What is this line over here doing? Nah, that one doesn't really do anything for me. Yeah, you gave me a good little stock to play with here. I'm going to have to play with this one. I'm not sold on it yet. You know, you want to take a little nibble, it's only 43 cents. I mean, buy a couple of them, I ain't going to be mad at you by all means. You know, don't put your 401k in it by all means. But yeah, if you want to get a little early on there, hey, that's what's up. Ryan, AI about to go public. It has AI in it, so just buy AI about to go. It's got the word name AI in it, right? That's half the battle. But AREC is at the selling point. Please don't be afraid to take profits. Hey, don't be afraid. It depends when you bought it. We'll take a look at the stock. We'll look at the stock chart today. Or no, the video tonight is on AREC. And again, just like UAMY, I think we're still in the early phases of it here. Still in the early phase. Ryan AI, ticker RYAN. Iron, yeah, Iron reports as well. Iron the miner. I wonder what Iron's doing. I did a video on that recently. And the data miners. Was that? Woo-hoo-hoo, man. Last week, y'all got some hot stocks from us. You got some. How you hit that like button? Hit the subscribe button if it's your first time watching. Because last week, man, I did the data center AI video. That didn't get good views. I tell you, the videos that don't get good views are the ones you typically need to watch. South Park recently did an episode where Randy Marsh added AI to his cannabis business. AI weed company. Oh, God. Oh, that's funny. Ryan, the ticker RNAI is available. Is that really? I'm just curious now, John. Is it an actual ticker symbol? No, it is not. That would have been cool if it was. I wonder what kind of company it would have been, too. All right, but yeah, you can see the data center play with Ethereum hitting a new high recently. And AI, AI stocks are AI is what's putting pressure on some of these crypto stocks right now. Crypto is doing good. The AI is a little bit rougher. All right, let's get back here. Let's go back to the charts, graph all. See what the opportunities are. Let's go to 6 months. This is Ethereum. Look at that big body candlestick. Just hit the high. Today it's at 43. Pulled back a little bit, but still the trend is up. RT is favorable. As long as RT is favorable, I'm going to be a little bit bullish on Ethereum. But I like Ethereum at all. Like I said, if we get some, real momentum since we just broke that high, hey, you can either play the momentum or, if you want to wait for the dust to settle, come back, look for a retest on the old high. That needs to be the support. That needs to be the support going forward. John says RNAI invest in Five Below. Check out Counter Snack, Snorkel, and Flippers and Palantir. Was just checking robotic stocks watch list. MBOT is sticking out. Let's look at MBOT here. Oh, wait. No. We got to get through these. Y'all distract me with good stuff. We're going to get to your stocks. Ethereum, double leverage, twice as good as regular Ethereum. That's all you got to know. Twice as good as regular Ethereum. You got ETH, and if you're really convicted and you don't mind some volatility, you can double leverage that Ethereum, right? Or if you want to get crazy, you can throw an option on there. That's on you. Pennywise, a donut shop in New Jersey added blockchain to its name, Blockchain Donut, a few years ago, and their sales went through the roof. All they need is a little Bitcoin ATM machine out front of the Blockchain Donut store. Oh, man, that's hilarious. Intel, this is all I'm going to say about Intel. Look at it. It's done a whole lot of nothing, and if you think the government, just because they got a 15% stake in the company, that Intel is all of a sudden going to be the best chip manufacturer in the world, I don't know. I don't like that argument whatsoever. I mean, look at the forecasted data. -7, 0, overvalued, falling earnings per share. I mean, I could throw a dart at semiconductors, the industry, and probably land on a stock better than Intel. That's just my 2 cents. Palantir, look at that. It's hanging at the bottom of that channel, baby. So if you're holding it, I've been talking about this channel. You don't have to watch me to know. Just extend that line out till today. Let's jump into 6 months. The donut chain got delisted. Stop it. The donut chain. 70% market Intel. I don't underestimate INC. The government owning INC makes the stock even more radioactive. Pennywise. I'm gonna. Hey, remember them radioactive shrimp at Walmart? Now we're going to have some radioactive semiconductors. No, I'm just messing. But, I mean, obviously I'm going to root for America, and I really hope that, the U.S. government, partnership with Intel can take them to, new levels. I just don't see it, though. TSMC is too far ahead. I'd like to see more partnerships between Intel and TSMC. Intertwine us with Taiwan. They're the leaders, right? And I know they've got partnerships. They expand on them partnerships. The government stepping in like that is a really bad sign for Intel to me. Yeah, that's like if you're having a problem at home and you want the government to come in and fix it. That ain't going to help nothing. God. Oh, man. Those are self-cooking shrimp. Positive spin. Save a couple bucks on the energy bill. The shrimp... don't not eat the shrimp. All right. I'll stop picking on Intel. But as far as Palantir, this is what I like to see. These bottom wicks here. Hey, if you snag this bottom wick below, or if you're snagging along the bottom of this ascending channel here, the real test, if this is going to be a nice pivot, is if we can get back above this 20-day EMA. And you can see the rejection at the 42 here. So keep that in mind. We broke it. Now we're retesting it from the bottom. Still looking kind of like a dead cat bounce. It's bouncing for a day or two, right? Still looking like that. I'm not sold on Palantir. I'd say if it breaks today's low going forward, I'd be more concerned, right? That would give me more rejection from that 40 days. So it's still at a critical point. You're still at 157. I know I tried to warn you last week. There was the parabolic move, but hey, if you're still in it, that's my optimism for Palantir right now. It's still in the ascending channel, and we're getting big bottom wicks in this ascending channel, right? Nvidia honestly could be the make or break for Palantir, because if Nvidia gets, I don't want to say Nvidia's going to do bad, but if Nvidia gets a bad gap down from earnings, some of the, and say the software like Snow or them, we need to get Palantir needs to get its act together sooner than later. And the market probably could help that. Let's see here. I'm not adding any more Palantir, but if somehow it drops to $50, I'd consider it. If it drops down, I don't know. It's hard to see if it's dropped down to 50. But again, Palantir, it's still in the ascending channel. Just be careful. Like I'd be on the cusp. Breaking back into the channel for warning sign, broke the 20-day EMA, broke the 40. So, if none of those warning signs got your attention, you could list, you got this little trend line here, but that's it. After that, boom. It can drop. You know, it can get back into the 130s, no problem. And look at RT painting a foggy picture here. First time RT's been below 1 and Palantir since the big run here. You can see the RT since April when the stock was what was that? The close was $100. So be careful there too. RT showing us some weakness for the bulls. Here's Qubit. Here's my level support. You see the pivot, right? Breakout, right? Pivot. Just kind of like what I'm talking about Ethereum, the breakout. Now we've got 3 touches. Let's get price action. Actually, this might actually just be breaking out here soon. Look at that. We're getting rejection right now. I need to get more in that trend line. Yeah, if Qubit moves up a little bit more, this bad boy could roll. I'm going to let you know right now. This thing could take off. PRM raised $25 for Morgan Stanley. That's why it's flying. Pennywise at South Korea. I guess Trump is miffed about being rejected by Greenland and Canada. All right. My concern for Nvidia is annual. China's not buying chips currently, and I read a story today that Nvidia stopped making chips for China as a result of lack of orders. Yes, China. They have, China, one of their largest customers. You know, are you surprised if there's spyware stuff in Nvidia's chips from the Department of Defense? Would you be surprised? Wouldn't be surprised at all. Yeah, if I was China, I wouldn't want our chips either. That's why they're trying to make their own chips, right? And they're getting close. They're getting close, and that's all right. But yeah, good point, Linda. Good point. Very good point. Maybe I need to do a video on that going into earnings. Some of the Chinese chip. That's a good one for tomorrow, actually. Yeah, that might be tomorrow's video. But yeah, keep Qubit. IONQ, not seeing the trade set up there that I saw with Qubit. And you can, so look at these. This happens again, right? You see the trend line, long-term rejection here. That would have been my time to sell the trade. And look, rejection, resistance, rejection, resistance, rejection, resistance. That's a triple top right there. And then now we're dipping below the 40-day, retesting it from the bottom. Nope. No, I'm not going to say it. I like Qubit as far as the trade right now. And if you're investing in these, I mean, you're for the long haul. You know, I'm talking about more short term here. I see the applications for both companies in the long haul. You just know you're trading premiums. Yeah, I'm not liking what I see. Yeah, I'm not liking what I see here with IONQ. But we'll see. All right, let's get out of here. Let's get over to the earning stocks. What time is it? I guess, it's 12:42. We gotta get through these. What I want to, I forgot Dell. That's right. Dell, boom, added. All right, we're just gonna go right to the graphs. Nvidia. Who scooped up Nvidia at the 40-day? Who? I actually sang for y'all. Whew. It must be a Monday. I actually sang for you. And I don't. You've been asking for. You got the Nvidia at the 40-day song. Who scooped up Nvidia at the 40-day? Boy, that was smart. I'm telling you right now, that was a smart move. We'll find out how smart it was. Like you said, the Chinese concern. That's my biggest concern right now when it comes to Nvidia earnings. But still, I mean, yeah. So all right. So the Chinese aren't going to build on the Nvidia stack, right? The rest of the world has said, hey, Nvidia, we can build on your stack pretty much. You know, Middle East, Europe. I did, but that singing, woof, yeah, Janice, yeah. Try not to sing. I'm telling you, the viewership would go. I'm not quite musically inclined as DJ Glenn over here. I need to clip out that part with Ryan RNA singing. But yeah, Nvidia, look at big bold day again today. I actually need to slow down on further additions to my Nvidia position like I have with Palantir. Hey, you know, I get it. You can't just keep buying and buying and buying the same stock. I get it completely. As far as Nvidia, though, I'm just curious. I haven't looked at this line in a while here. Where are we at? Oh, is that a 40-day scoop at the bottom of the ascending channel that it hasn't touched since April? I think that's a good breathing room from a technical perspective. That's a great breathing room. What about neg stock? It's good. With some, I have a short and neg, and I have disclosed that since last week. That's in my employee contest portfolio. I am short at 117, and last time I looked, I think it was around $86. I'm up quite a bit in that short. I tried telling you about it when it was $20. So if you made money from $20 up to what, 140? Hopefully you made some money. There's plenty of room to make some money there. Janice, Amir, he went home Friday, pics on his wife, pic on his wife's Facebook, skinny mini. But okay, Amir Amir, there has been updates. Check out his Facebook page or Janice's Facebook page. He did make it home. I just reached out to her. If I get an update, I will definitely let you know. John says yes. It's like the woman who dated George. Stop it, John. I've been adding more Google MO. I just told my mom about some Google. I like Google. I just told my mom about some Google, actually. Broadcom, AVAB, all good stocks, Pennywise. I like your stocks, Pennywise. I cannot lie. But Nvidia, that's a perfect scoop. That's perfect technicals all around. And hey, you know what could happen? We could say, pooey on the China ordeal. Investors could get enthused about it. And there's a lot of room now to the upside until we get to that ascending channel, right? To the top side of this ascending channel. I can't even, see how much that high, but I think it puts it around 200. I'm trying to know where my mouse is. I got to guess. But yeah, I like Nvidia. But I'm going to do some research on those Chinese chips, Linda. And I have a feeling tomorrow, or I probably should be tomorrow's video, because Wednesday video will come out after the fact. All right, so I'm going to have to do that then. I remember we were talking about Goog when it was just breaking over 1 on RT. You should look at that chart. Yeah, we've been talking about Google a lot lately. Told you, it's Google, Meta, Nvidia. Those are my mags. Those are my mag stocks, and I like Bitcoin. I've said it before on this channel. I kicked Tesla out of my Mag 7 pick a while ago. It was replaced by Bitcoin, or you could do Broadcom. That's just me personally. Let's see here. Amir says, can he talk? Amir, I'm not going to confirm nor deny that. Just because I know he could talk. I just don't know the level. But yeah, as far as I know, he was talking pretty good. Last time I talked to him. But yeah, he could talk. Let's see here. Google's RT is 1.52 as of now. That's a good one. But yeah, IREN crypto, they report earnings. I imagine if they're still holding on their Bitcoin, their earnings is probably pretty good. But look, big full day today, breaking out. I like this. Earnings per share on the rise. Urban Outfitters, hey, look at this one. Undervalued, value on the rise, momentum to the upside. Look at all the forecasted data, too. This is not a stock I ever talk about, but Urban Outfitters, if you're trying to diversify out of techs, I know everyone loves some tech stocks, but look at this retail company here. I see the sideways-osity to it, but what I see is that value diverging further away. I see the forecasted data getting better. And I see it's kind of breaking above the swing high here. This might be showing us some momentum. Yeah, Urban Outfitters. Put it on your radar. They report earnings this week, so you don't have to rush into it by all means, but it does look favorable in the VectorVest 7 system. Here's Ollie. I will say I like Urban Outfitters a lot better than Ollie's. The technicals. Forecasted data is not bad, double digits, but yeah, I'm going to have to go with Urban Outfitters over Ollie's on this. Not liking most retail stocks right now, but yeah, I'm just saying that, because I know a lot of people that watch this, even myself, I find myself getting overweighted in tech. If you need to diversify yourself, I like that one, the Urban Outfitters. Ollie's, not so much. It's not bad, but, the technicals aren't there and it's overvalued. The other one just looks better. Here's a software company. This is another stock set to report here. Just moving to the side. Overvalued. Forecasted data, not bad. I like this jump up in the earnings per share here. Not too bad as well. Are you going to take the stocks? Can we put the stocks on? I'm going to take some stocks, Amir. Walmart is my only retail holding. Okay. So you got some radioactive shrimp, Pennywise? Let's see here. Dell. I like Dell, but look at that. The value, undervalued, both on the rise here. I'm telling you, I have a feeling they're snagging that business from SMCI. I like it a lot. Sales growth rate, earnings growth rate, nothing to brag about. 16.5%. EPS here. Look at that. Oof. On the rise. I kind of like Dell. I'm not going to lie. Oh, here's a stock. Look at the valuation on TD. Growth rate and earnings, sales growth. It's just everything has jumped dramatically. Now, if you look, the technical's not that sexy, right? I like the data. We're in this channel here. Maybe see if it breaks out of the channel. If you want to set an alert, I'd get alert around $76. If you get an alert for Toronto Dominion at $76, probably should take a look at it. Holy moly, TD. Yeah, right. I like that one. That's what I'm saying. I just put alert there, 76. Let me know when it breaks out the channel. Hey, I already know the stock looks good. Look at growth rate, turnaround stories, sales growth rate, negative to positive, big jump, EPS. I like it in general. These are all stocks reporting earnings this week. That's why they're on this list. NetApp, another good fish here. Look, undervalued, value on the rise, price action rising. Not seeing a lot of momentum here. It actually kind of looks like a little channel as well. Let's see here. Yep, about right there's the top. Let's see about right here. Here's the bottom. So again, coming right towards the top of that channel. Might see some confirmation soon. Here's another one. Marvel, becoming fairly valued here. A little bit of a rollover. I'm not really sold on Marvel quite yet. Got growth rate earnings 18. Not a bad dip to consider. Not a bad dip to consider. I do like it. Earnings per share, take it back. Yeah, I like this. Actually, Royal Bank of Canada. That's what I'm saying. These Canadian banks looking good here. Undervalued, value on the rise, price action on the rise. Forecasted data is not the best picture here. EPS is rising. Another good one. Canadian Imperial Bank, again, value, price action on the rise. This forecasted data is probably the worst I've seen of the three so far. Earnings per share is rising here. I like this retest on this 40-day. We might be getting another retest here. See if we get a retest with the pivot. Could be a good move. Here's Bank of Montreal. This is actually the only overvalued bank in the list here. We see price action on the rise. Value, growth rate, 3%. I'm not sold on that one. Ultra, not there. 5 below, no. I do like that one. Here's a not the greatest. Dollar General, it's kind of just moved to the side now. Looks like the momentum's pretty much lost. Here's Webull. So Webull came out, right? Look at Webull, $15 now. Not a whole lot going on. This stock might move around earnings time, though. Look at like Reddit reports. See what the short interest is on this. This could be a good a retail trade here. I like. Even, yeah, I kind of think of an option on this because with the stock moving to the side, I bet the option premiums might be interesting. And RT is actually in favorable territory now. Not a bad play. I'm not sold on it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some action in the near future when it comes to Webull. Here's CrowdStrike. They're reporting same night as Nvidia, Wednesday after the bell. This is what I talked about last time. This rejection here. We had the break. We had rejection. Just not seeing it yet. Let's see your level support, maybe right here. We're getting close to it. I'm not sold on CrowdStrike yet. I'm not sold on it. And look at the forecasted data to the downside. 20%, way overvalued. Crowd is my biggest pure play cybersecurity holding. Okay. Yeah, looks like we're coming back here to retest this. Snowflake also facing the pressure here. Look at that rejection at the 40. Earnings per share, kind of a turnaround story here. I do like that, but look from a technical standpoint, relative timing back below 1. You see last time that occurred around this time frame here. More downside action could be in the works for Snowflake. Not liking that one. Lee Auto, definitely not another one. Not really too big of a fan of. All right, a couple fish there when it came to earnings. All right, what time is it? 12:54. How many likes we got? Clay, how do I see the likes? Oh, there, we got to scroll down. All right, we got 5 stocks. 5 stocks. First 5 stocks coming across that comment section will be in the list. IIPR. All right, let's see here. Open INOD. All right, I'll give you a couple extra. What do we got here? Oh, no. There we go. There we go. All right, we've got 6 here, actually. 6 here. Let's graph these real quick. First one is IONOD. The stock trading at a premium, but actually getting a fair value on it now. Growth rate, 45%. Sales growth rate outpacing 79%. I like it. As far as Tilray, James, I'm going to tell you right now, we're just waiting on the next news to come about with, changing the legislation on marijuana. That's what's going to move Tilray up. It's going to move the weed stocks up, right? The name of the game is trying to get the lowest price of those weed stocks before the next news breaks out of any upcoming legislation. That's the name of the game of the weed stocks. Growth rate earnings on the rise. Sales growth rate actually did tick up. Still coming at 79. I like this stock. I mean, not the prettiest chart, to be honest. I do see this consolidation here. Maybe this is where it can find a little support. Boom. Boom. About right here is that line. And that's actually about right. We're trying to find level support here, right? This valuation. So yeah, I like it. As long as it can stay above about $35. The real question, is if it's going to get back above that 20-day, 40-day. I'm not going to, speculate on that. But yeah, I just need the stock to stay above $35. Otherwise, I would be getting concerned. Holding it as I like it as a LT play. Okay. Long-term play? Nice. I like the value growing up. Actually, yeah, that looks really good. Let's see here. 6 months. MBOT. Big upper wick here. Ooh. Spicy. See, broke above it. Did this thing bite? Man, all I'm going to say, if price action drops back below $4, be careful. We see this a lot on these stocks. I don't know if it's just the algorithms making this pattern happen, but it likes connected to these trend lines from way back in time. And we're seeing that here. Look at this big upper wick. If we finish this day with one big upper wick and we're actually, in a body to the downside, I would be careful. If bull looks interesting, CUPR must be interesting too. Just because you made that comment. That's interesting. Nope, that is not interesting. Not at all. Not at all. The moving averages diverging away from each other. Nope, not at all. The only thing interesting about this stock, the stock was way overvalued at $10. Look where it dropped. Right at our valuation. That's the power of the VectorVest value right there. Now you're actually getting a decent price on the stock. But I'd probably wait even more because the momentum's there. If you want to snag a little, it's only $1. Hey, it's aggressive. You already should know that. But $10 to $1. Whew. That is interesting, Lulu. But this one, just be careful. I would price action stay above this $4 now. Just be careful with that one. I do like it, though. It's just overvalued. Open. Look at that. Another big candlestick here. Here's a little bit of a cup, a little bit of a handle here, and then boom, 2 big days in a row. So I know I'm going to just draw this. About right there. A little rough math. We're almost to my price target. If I'm going to look at a cup and handle from a symmetrical standpoint, we're almost to my target there. We got a little bit left, but not much. Meme stock power. Yeah, that looks like some meme stock power. Hudson Tech. I just like this is steady Eddie. Lower left, upper right. Yeah, it's overvalued. Yeah, forecasted data stinky. Earnings per share is rising. But yeah, I'm not going to trade it for you. I just lower left, upper right. Let's see, let's do a nice simple trend line. If you think about loading up on this stock, closer you can get into this trend line, the better. Obviously, if it breaks the trend line, party's over and it's a guessing game until the stock finds, where its bottom is going to be from that pullback. Here's Innovative. IND is healthcare marijuana stock here. This is one I'm not seeing. Undervalued, though. Value coming in at $56. Forecasted data, negative, very poopy. Earnings per share, poopy. The only thing I like here, technical perspective, the RT's coming back into favor a little bit. IAPR is a good play for weed. It's a REIT that owns farmland for growing cannabis. Pays $1.90 per share quarterly dividend. 13% yield. Interesting. So this is a marijuana dividend play. Yeah, but that 15% dividend doesn't mean I'm going to be happy, if my initial investment went from $140 down to $54. That's for sure. But if you're just starting this, because you see here, it's telling me that's way overvalued. That's undervalued too. I don't know. I mean, if you're okay with some long-term volatility, but this might be interesting. Michael, this might be interesting. I mean, if it really pays a 13% yield, I mean, up at $140, I'm like, not so much, but 54 undervalued. Yeah, that's not a bad dividend idea. I mean, not your traditional dividend play, but hey, marijuana stock. Not bad. Let's look a little bit further here. Let's look at 5 years. Ooh, it was at 300. Ooh. Is the damage done? I mean, growth rate has just been dropping to negative. Sales growth rate, EPS. Be careful. All I'm going to say is be careful on this one. You maybe play the ex-dividend date strategy kind of thing, but yeah, like a yield max. It's kind of how I'm picturing it. It's like a yield max. Oh, the dividend sounds real good until your initial investment's down 85% or something crazy. Just be careful on that one. Just be careful. I do like it's overvalued now. Definitely not for the faint of heart. Definitely not penny-wise. All right, here is Rich Tech Robot. Interesting name. I like it. Forecasted data. That's not going to get me excited. Let's just go ahead and get rid of that. I'm not here for the forecasted data. I'm not here for the value really either. RT's kind of all over the place. Looking from just a chart perspective here. Interesting. I don't know. That stock is very volatile. Overvalued. Really valued 66 cents. I'm not really here for it, to be honest with you. If you're in this position, obviously that's going to be the strong level support here. Don't want to break that. It's around $1.72. I do see the consolidation break right here. This little point right here. So let's do a horizontal right at this point. All right. So at this point, I want price action to stay above 237. If we do a retest around 237, wouldn't be surprised. But that's why I want to stay above for this position here. All right. What time is it? Ooh, it is past 1 o'clock. Wow. What a Monday, everybody. What a wonderful Monday. All right. Big thing today. Tonight's presentation is going to be on AREC. Great looking stock, hot stock. There are other stocks mentioned. These are rare earth critical mineral plays. This stock's like $2. It was undervalued. Have to take a look at it now. It might be overvalued. But tonight's presentation really breaks down some of the biggest rare earth ambitious projects or critical mineral projects in the country. And some of that has to do with the coal ash. We were talking about coal ash. I was talking about, what was it, University of Texas. Found out there's all this rare earth and coal ash. Well, AREC is right in the middle of that conversation. So check out tonight's video. Michael says, I was in Iraq and got stopped out. Story of my life. Hey, you can always get back in. But check out tonight's video, though. And I like these critical minerals, these rare earth plays. There is momentum for my short-term traders. There is momentum. I'm not going to lie. I really just feel that even from long-term investment perspectives, these stocks are presenting great opportunities. The one caveat is going to be MP, and I'm going to find out more about that caveat if you watch tonight's video. So check it out, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow. Actually, no live stream tomorrow. Wednesday, Nvidia's earnings. Let's get to it. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see each other on Nvidia Day. Take care.